Okay, now here, if people are watching this, they might want to screen capture this, because what you're going to see is you're going to see a timeline that is put together so that you can understand this temple period, and this temple period as to what it means in terms of the timing of the coming of the desolation of the temple, the 70 years of captivity, and in particular, the edict that says go and rebuild. All right, so in 609 BC, Yahuachaz becomes king for 3 months, and then his brother Jehoiakim becomes king. Then in 605, Nebuchadnezzar conquers Nineveh and becomes king of not only the Assyrian Empire, but also the Babylonian Empire. So at this point, what was Sumeria, down around the Tigris-Euphrates Delta in that area, is now going to expand up to capture all of the Assyrian Empire, which really goes into the Anatolian provinces of what is now modern-day Turkey, most of Syria, reaching back up into Armenia, across into Iran. You know, this is a very broad-based empire, and Nebuchadnezzar has conquered the whole kit and caboodle. He's conquered this massive territory. Okay, and is now king. All right, Nebuchadnezzar then conquers Jehoiakim and makes him a vassal king. Jehoiakim rebels against Nebuchadnezzar, and Jehoiakim is killed, and his brother Jehoiakim is appointed in his place as vassal king. Now, you see, all these are brothers, right? People try to say, oh, that's his son, that's his son, that's his son. Well, it's not. They were all brothers. And Matthew 1 tells us this. And remember that Matthew 1 was more likely based upon different writings than the Masoretic text, okay? Matthew 1 was based on different writings. And you get this litany of these kings right in Matthew 1, very important. And it says the Babylonian captivity when Yekoniah and his brothers were taken captive, okay? So here you see that Jehoiakim is killed. His brother Jehoiakim is appointed in his place as vassal king. Jehoiakim rebels and is taken into exile as well. And his brother, Sidkiyahu, Zedekiah, he's the youngest of the bunch. He's appointed king in place. Okay, the first temple, the Beit Mikdash, is destroyed on the 9th of Av in 586 BC. Great, important marker. All right. 560 BC, Nebuchadnezzar dies. His son Evil-Merodach becomes king. Evil-Merodach dies after reigning for 22 years, and Belshazzar becomes king in 538 BC. 536, Mene Tekel Perez, right? The 2,520 years, the writing on the wall that took place in Daniel 5. This is when Belshazzar believed erroneously that the 70 years had passed and that the house of Yehuda had not been redeemed, therefore he could drink out of the temple implements. Well, he was wrong, and then he was killed by Darius, or Darius, who ruled for 1 year. Now, in 534 BC, Koresh takes the kingdom for 3 years. Now, Koresh is also called Cyrus. I didn't have a chance to put together the slide. I believe it's out of Isaiah 43, where Isaiah says, I have called you by name. You do not know my name, but I know your name. And he's talking about Koresh, or Cyrus. Okay, that prophecy was read to Koresh by Daniel. And when Koresh saw the prophecy, Koresh, who believed in pagan gods, okay, Koresh never believed in Yahweh. Koresh believed in pagan gods. And he writes the proclamation that's called the Pekidah. And this was, or he revealed the Pekidah, which is the declaration to return to the land. And he did this on the Cyrus scroll. Now, this scroll is still in existence. It's a clay scroll. You can type it into Google, Cyrus scroll, and you can find out where it is. Usually it bounces between London and New York. But it's a scroll, a clay scroll kind of cylinder, a clay cylinder, and you would dip it in ink and then roll it out on the Sanskrit to tell you what it said. And it was the first proclamation of religious liberty ever crafted in the civilized world, at least after the flood. Okay, so Akashverosh, or Xerxes, becomes king in 531 BC. Now, we see here that we're talking about Akashverosh, that Darius was the son of Akashverosh. Well, what's that tell you? It tells you that the Darius up here in 536 BC was Darius the first. This Darius here, Akashverosh, is going to be the second Darius. He's another Darius, right? So Akashverosh becomes king, and then in 519, the miracle of Purim occurs. Hadassah redeems her people. Now, by the way, if you get a chance to read the additions to Esther, which is the true book of Esther, not the redacted book of Esther that we have in the 66 book Bible, And if you don't believe that, check the Spanish Bible. The Spanish Bible has the full edition of Esther, all 15 chapters of Esther in the Spanish Bible, but we have the shortened version in the English Bible. And the shortened version does not have any prayers, does not mention the name of Yahweh. It begs the question, why is this book in Scripture if it doesn't mention Yah at all? But the real book of Hadassah did. And it says something, there's something very interesting about Hadassah in this book of Hadassah. It says Hadassah was black. Esther was black. This is what it says. And Hadassah redeems her people. 519 BC. This is under Achashverosh. 517 BC. Achashverosh dies. Dariavesh, his son, becomes the king. And in his first year, Daniel writes the prophecy in chapter 9. So this Daniel 9 was written in 517 BC. That's an important thing to remember, because at this point, we still don't have the realization of all 70 years. Okay? But in 516 BC, the following year, Dariavesh gives permission to rebuild the Beit HaMikdash exactly 70 years later. Okay? Very important. All right.